I'd like to leave Birmingham. I don't like Birmingham very much as a place. There are good and bad bits, obviously, but by and large, I don't find Birmingham a very stimulating place to exist, and I would like to leave Birmingham, preferably as a musician, but if I would like to leave Birmingham anyway. At the moment, I'm unemployed, and I'm working with the group Ferrari. Also, during the day, I'm doing part-time work to help with the money, and I spend a lot of time walking around the town.
If I only had a job, whatever that job might be, I think I'd feel slightly dissatisfied. I think I'd be quite a depressed person. I find that playing in the group, I find it's the ultimate in hobbies. It gives me a real interest in life. I think it kind of peps my life up. Sometimes the job may become slightly depressing and repetitive sometimes, but playing in the group keeps me up.
My parents came from Jamaica about 25 years ago. We moved down to London for a while, about 5 years or something like that. We came back up here to live, and I've been here ever since. I was born in Birmingham though. Well, I'd really like to be a professional singer, a good one, a successful professional singer, that's what I should say. But if not, I guess I just carry on working, probably start a family, and that's it.
I love the States. I was there when I was young, so everything was rosy, which might be unfortunate. I didn't have to work, I was at school, everything was fine. The States as a whole, everything is big. The architecture's big. I mean, even the people are big. Not in size, in their whole sort of outlook on life. Life is just more fun. The whole thing is just a completely different lifestyle, so that's what you can't explain to people. And that's what I want to get back to.
We're very lucky actually for rehearsal room. We have the drummer's father owns a shop in Erdington. Yeah. It's a furniture shop. And we rehearse upstairs. Everything is moved aside in a certain area, and we just sort of set up there and play away to the jazz.
You know the shirt, the white one I've got? The Chris has got. Well, we bought 6 khaki ones and 1 sort of rust one for Jackie, so she's sort of the black against the...
Against the rust?
Yeah, it'll be alright, it's nice.
My God, sorry. Excuse me.
The band started about 5 months ago, Ferrari, and it's come together from about, probably 4 or 5 bands throughout Birmingham. In the time we've been together, there's been a hell of a lot happening. But at the same time, we know there's a lot, there's a long way we can go yet. There's a lot more potential to the group. Ferrari's, it's sort of my dream to have a Ferrari, but it's a super flash name. And it's a name that sticks. It's sort of a worldwide name. And I think it's catchy.
Up to the very end.
The band needs commerciality to make it in the recording business, which I think, with this lineup, I feel most confident with. But, I mean, there are millions of groups, millions of musicians on the scene. Obviously, it's harder. Since sort of the Beatles, everyone's sort of picked up a guitar and learned to play. Some have got good, some are bloody terrible. But, yeah, I think a provincial group still can make it, but it's that little bit harder.
It's a D major 9th.
Being in the right place at the right time is the most important thing. It's what it's all about. It's no good just sitting around waiting for something to happen, because it doesn't. The impression you seem to get as you walk through, say, the shopping centre is a very sort of tense feeling, and people are very sort of drawn-faced, if you like. There's no sort of sunshine in the place at all, either actually in the building or in the people's faces. Everyone's sort of rushing through. No real warmth at all. I think that's because the sort of upbringing Birmingham's had. It's industrial. You get this sort of industrial type feeling. But I don't know. There seems no warmth in the city throughout. You know, there's nothing. You don't feel you want to stop and sort of have a look around, take everything in. You want to sort of move straight through. I go down to the south of France on holiday, and I like the lifestyle down there. The way of life all around is much better. The continental dress is maybe a bit more flamboyant than English dress, and I think Birmingham people are a bit scared to change. Yeah, I think Midlands men, their attitude, they have to be real men, and they seem scared to just, I'm not saying going to the extreme, but to sort of just let it go a little bit, just relax all around. There's always this sort of super tough image, if you like. I think the difference in the clothes is just because of the way Birmingham was a very industrial city, and I think it's followed through, not only in clothes, but sort of architecture, the whole thing. I think that's the English one.
Yes, I think it was that one.
Security is very important to me. That's one of the things that worries me about the music business. I'm married.
It's just a bit big.
It's one of the reasons I haven't sort of learned to play and shot off down to London, which I think is where, if you want to get on where it's all sort of happening, if you like. So yeah, that is important. I need a good full-time job. And a job that I'm happy in for my own satisfaction, which I've got at the moment. I'm very happy doing the job I want, so I've come up against a situation where, as if one thing doesn't work, if my sort of ultimate ambition doesn't work, I've always got the jury, which is, you know, it's fine, it's very nice. I could never write about Birmingham. There's nothing here that inspires me at all. You can write about America, for instance, Broadway, blah blah, Hollywood, whatever. But somehow the towns in this country just don't seem to have that ring. Streets of London, I think that's about it. Birmingham doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't have a hold on me at all. As a town, going back to security, my only hold is I'm happy here. I've got a home, I've got a good job, and I've got security. But really, if someone could make me an offer to go back to the States, for instance, you know, I'd have to go. But there again, I need a certain amount of security to get out of here. So in a way, I'm one of the people I knock. I'm sort of tied in, you know.
Good evening and welcome to another night with Ferrari.
Nobody's true, but you try to hide it. You turn down love like it's really bad. You say you can't get what you never had. God bless your soul, you're so full of you. I know the truth and so do you, yeah. You can't hide love, you can't hide. You can't hide love, it's got you, babe. I bet you want my love, I bet you, yeah. But you can't hide what's inside.
I've been working since I was 16 in groups. I've been working at Fort Dunlop since I was 18. and the two careers have been running side by side. So far, my career at Fort Dunlop's been far more successful than any career I've had in music. And fortunately, there hasn't been a clash as yet. And at the moment, I can't foresee a clash. Although we would hope for some success. The music business is rather nebulous. The tyre business is a bit more steady, and this job is a steady job, more job security. There would be a lot to give up to go professional in music, certainly.
You can't pretend that there's nothing there. I look in your eyes and I see you care. So why not stop trying to run and hide? You never find out, you never try. God bless your soul, you're so full of you. I know the truth and so do you, yeah. You cannot
Yeah, and how many have you done? About 300. Thanks. I work for a small engineering firm that does press work, special purpose machinery and so on. I do everything there is to be done in the office. So really I'm what is known as a secretary, but that's a bit posh. Glorified office clerk, I reckon.
So you can improve on that delivery, will you? Okay.
Who am I asking for? Mr. Aldrich? I've never come across racial barriers in my working life and my singing. But when I go in town, there's certain sections where you see a lot of black kids or a lot of white kids, you know, punks on one side and blacks on one side, you know? And I don't like that. I don't like that kind of thing. To me, it's a disgrace, if you want to say, because there's no need for it. I don't feel there is. You know, if people are good to me, I don't see what colour or creed, you know, it's got to do with anything. People would automatically, oh, I'm in a band, and people would automatically think, oh, you're with a black band or whatever. But, you know, they've been very sort of, when I first started, do you say black in front of me or do you say coloured? You know, that type of thing. But I just kept talking to them and all the rest of it, and they got to know me. I think I think it's when it comes to saying coloured or black or whatever, you know, then they didn't know which one to say, whether they were being offensive to me or so on. But they know me now. I'm balmy like them is.
You want my love and you can't deny. Nobody's true but you try to hide it. You turn down love like it's really bad. You say you can't get what you never had. Woo!
This city tends to make me feel trapped. There doesn't seem to be any sort of community centre. It's just sort of like an empty place full of just these huge concrete structures in the centre, and they don't seem to mean anything. It just seems like a futile effort existing in an environment like this. I find it very difficult to relate to, and I do when I walk here. It's a place I'd rather get through quickly than spend much time here. I think it does look what it is, actually. It is a second city, you know, and it can never be anything but, really. It seems to be very half-hearted in some places. Bits seem to be done and then left. It's almost as if people aren't sure about it. I think there's a lack of a feel of community spirit, largely to the architecture being so austere in places, and a sort of barbaric attitude as to the way the new buildings are constructed. The people seem very sort of isolated and walking in a very lonely manner, and the place seems to lead nowhere, and I get the impression that people are sort of just ambling through without thinking in any way about what's around them. I'd like to go anywhere but here, actually. I find this place completely sterile and devoid of any feeling for me at all. It almost seems like a meaningless place. You know, it has no sort of feel which I can relate to in an artistic manner, and it just seems to lack imagination or anything which I can enjoy at all. This place seems to be like a no man's land where nobody seems to belong. It's like a forgotten place where everything around seems discarded and not used, and as if everything's come to a standstill. It's the reality of upstairs. You know, we saw the dream upstairs, but now we're looking at it through its arse, so to speak. This, to me, seems to sum up something about Birmingham, that is that it's a dream which hasn't been fulfilled. It's just sort of been half realised, and almost as though as if people have changed their minds about things, and people are changing their minds, and so, such as the escalator has been left standing and it's stationary, and people have ceased to move on it, and it's just dead, you know, and it almost reflects the culture we're in, as if the culture we're in is dead. But miraculously it still seems to be going on, just about ticking over. But this seems to conjure up the image of what it might be like in the future. Absolutely dead in another 50, maybe 60 years, I don't know, or even longer.
Come on now, ladies and gentlemen, please, let's not get moving out, please.
Where's my guitar case?
A good crowd, great crowd. Keep that many in every time, we'll be away.
Personally, I don't think Birmingham's the right place to be in. There are some good bands around, a lot of good bands around, but I think you've got to get out, and you've got to get down to London and sell yourself. London won't come up here to see us. I'd like to make it in the music business. I'd like to drive a Ferrari, but I've been sort of in the music business long enough to realise that it's no good sort of dreaming and sort of you've just got to work. I mean, if it happens, that's fantastic. I would love it. But I don't sort of sit back and think, well, yeah, next year it's all, you know, I will have made it.
I would like to get to the position of being a renowned session bass player, a good bass player, not a superstar. I'd rather not be that, really. I'd rather make a good living, a good steady living out of the music business, than be at the top one day and nowhere the next.
I think it's a nice dream to cling to, that one day you're going to be a superstar, but at this moment in time, in reality, I don't see myself as that at all. And I can't see it happening at the moment.
I got the bug, if you understand me, but if you're going to, like bands usually go for years and years and years before anything happens. I don't know if I'm that dedicated to music to do to just plod on, because I think I get very cheesed off very easily. Nothing's happening, or what's the point?
We have to go down to London, actually, physically, to push the band. It's no good thinking we can stay here and make it, but without even having contact with London. We've got to have the London contact.
We've got to move to London to get the name pushed any further than the Midlands, to get sort of nationally known.
The group, if it has to achieve any stature at all, has got to go to London and possibly abroad.
All the people are in London, and people who live in London don't think anything else exists after you get to a certain point, like Watford Gap or something like that. So you go down there and show them that, oh yes, in Birmingham there is a good band here, you know. Yes, I reckon, definitely.